State Honda dealer today. We'll get to the report on James Cook and probably talk about the helmets news. But before that, Sal, thinking about your pieces on storylines by position group. Yesterday we did offense, today defense. What's number one for you on defense as far as, things to watch, narratives go?
Yeah, it's really the one open position on the team, I think, is a starter, which is cornerback opposite Christian Benford. I think I would expect Tre'Davious White to be the guy in that spot tomorrow when we get there and then kind of be that guy for the time being. But at what point, if any, does Max Hairston start to cut into his reps? Can he do that? This is the only true, I think, starting position open on offense or defense. I mean, you could say maybe Cole Bishop at safety, but it's Cole Bishop's job. He just has to stay healthy, really. To me, that's what happens there. This is truly a competition. So I think that's, to me, the number one storyline on that side of the ball is who winds up starting week one against the Baltimore Ravens? Is it Max Hairston or is it Tre'Davious White? And, I just think about the way that this team operates and the window that they're in. You could definitely make the argument of throw him out to the Wolves. If he gets beat, he gets beat, but you got to give him that experience. I totally understand that. But I think the Bills really want to have that position buttoned up. And I think, just not making mistakes is very important to them. And can he handle not making mistakes? Because I think they feel Tre'Davious White would have, obviously, the much better chance of at least doing and being where he's supposed to be.
Boy, I would love to be in a room when they are, because I by saying this, I'm predicting that they will be doing this, are analyzing every cut, every pivot, every change of direction. I'm sorry, I'm saying the same thing with different words. But every move he makes on the field, like, is he like, how close to peak Trey White is he? Is this problematic? Like, I would think they're going to be analyzing every single frame of film on him.
Eric Wood was on Extra Point Show with me today, and I really like his point that he said he thinks the reps will be divided pretty evenly. Turnovers really saved them last year in a lot of ways. And how much can you really rely on getting those turnovers again? As Steve Tasker said many times, he's right. Turnovers aren't a strategy. You can't just say we're going to get them. They have to. They come and it's great, but you can't rely on them. And they did last year get a lot of them, but I think they struggled at times in the secondary for the fact that they just didn't have those playmakers. They didn't have guys who really make a play on the ball when a play is needed to be made at times. That's where a guy like Cole Bishop might come in. And I think it makes Taylor Rapp a little bit better, too, because Damar Hamlin's not that guy. He gives you a baseline, and he was fine. I think Damar Hamlin deserves a lot of credit for last year. I really do. I think he played better than people give him credit for, and he stepped into a tougher situation because nobody really expected him to be a starter. People wanted him to be on the team. He wound up starting most games for a team that goes to the AFC Championship game, and he played okay, but what he didn't do was make plays on the ball and make those critical plays in those situations. They really need Cole Bishop to take that job and do that. And if Cole Bishop can't, if he doesn't stay healthy or if he can't do that physically, he doesn't make those plays, then I do think you're wondering, okay, what do you have here? Because that could be something that really hurts this team.
Yeah, but for anyone who's wondering, like, I think I know everything. Why do I need to read Sal's recap of these defensive, priorities and storylines to watch? Good reminder in here, the Cole Bishop paragraph. He missed minicamp this year with an injury, so he missed all of camp last year. It was behind the 8 ball all year. Showed some moments. Looked competent when he did get some chances, but it was a very small sample. And already this spring he was missing. Like it's way too early to say this guy's a problem in that area. But I mean that's rough. I mean they barely are doing anything, and he already got hurt.
No, I agree with you. And let's remember when he came out of college, he was already kind of ready-made to play in the NFL. Right? He went to Utah, and they believe he could step right in. And he had an opportunity. And when he didn't, remember Mike Edwards too. That was a guy I thought he was going to be a starter, guys. Like, things just kind of really went awry, which is, again, go back to why Damar Hamlin found himself in that situation and position. So now Cole Bishop has this opportunity. Can he step into it? Can he stay healthy? What did Dalton Kincaid say about the two of them when they were playing in college? He really got the better of them a lot of times when they were at practice. So, yeah, I think this is a very interesting story to watch. It could really be something that we're thinking, oh, my God, what are they doing? They have to address it. Or we could be sitting here after week 5 or 6 going, boy, that's a big-time difference from what they had last year at this point.
Sal Capaccio with us. Milano might deserve to be mentioned in this context, too. Just what he looks like. Another one to watch here in the next few days.
I think Matt Milano, guys, to me, I think Matt Milano represents just for the Bills a guy that if he can stay healthy. Here's how I'll say it. I think the Bills believe that as long as Matt Milano's healthy, he's going to be really good for them and be a difference maker. The question is, can he stay healthy? He's had a couple injuries over the last couple of years. The way he plays, he's a little bit undersized. He plays violently. He's getting a little bit older. There's wear and tear on the body. But I think all you need to know about what they think about Matt Milano, he played every single snap against the Denver Broncos on defense after he came back and was on the field just for a few weeks, and Dorian Williams did not play a snap in that game. When it came time to, okay, here we go, it's playoff time, Matt Milano was the guy in the field. Yes, I know they restructured his deal. He's got 1 year left. In the team, they'll figure it out. He took a pay cut. He's betting on himself, all of that. But I will tell you, I believe the Bills think that if Matt Milano is healthy, they have maybe the best linebacking duo, if not close to it, in the NFL between him on the weak side and Terrell Bernard in the middle.
I like those two for sure, but with the big picture in mind, what you're talking about here, even mentioning Dorian Williams, to me, that's a guy you might want to find opportunity to get on the field more than just a regular backup, as good as Milano is. With the big picture in mind, let's make sure maybe you handle Milano a little like they'll handle Bosa, or some of us have thought that they should handle Bosa, right? Like bubble wrap, okay? I'm not saying don't play him, right? I mean, he's your starting weak side linebacker. He's gonna play. But maybe like a series a quarter or every third or fourth series, like here's Dorian Williams, just to keep the miles down on his odometer this year.
Yeah, maybe sneak in some reps here or there in situations in games, right? I mean, you have a couple of touchdown lead, it's fourth quarter, maybe you're not making wholesale changes, but maybe Matt Milano takes a series off, right? Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe you start to do that with a guy like this because you'd want him as healthy as possible when you get to December, when you get to January. So no doubt that's a guy that – and look, I also think there's a chance for Dorian Williams to get on the field maybe in other situations, base situations. It doesn't have to be in lieu of Matt Milano. The team – this team – we all love Taron Johnson. We know how great he is. But the reality is teams have taken advantage of the Bills being light in the box. They've taken advantage of Taron Johnson at corner. Teams have gotten better at running the ball against the Bills, and this is one of the reasons why. Because the Bills are a little bit undersized on defense. It's no secret. They'd rather be athletic. They play like that intentionally. The Bills may have to have a bit of a philosophy change here, guys, and say, you know what, we can't just run nickel every single time. Yes, he's a great player. We love having Taron out there, but we got to go a little bit bigger sometimes on defense.
Thinking about James Cook here, the report today was that he's expected to be present at Fisher tomorrow. Wondering just what the schedule is and what you think or know it'll be like tomorrow when it comes to him. It's the first day. The story of the first day is that it's the first day. But, of course, we've been talking about Cook so much, wondering what he'll do. What is the plan tomorrow, to put it one way?
Well, today's really the first day for players. They're reporting today. They're on the field tomorrow. They're not just reporting tomorrow, right? We're watching practice. They're getting up in the morning. They're going to meetings. So they're there today. By the fact that Tom Pelissero reported that, and Ian Rappaport backed it up, that tells me they know he's there already, right? Yeah. Like, okay, they found out he's there. The question is now what happens when practice starts at 9:45 a.m. tomorrow. All eyes will be on that. So when you're talking about a schedule, so 9:15 is when we hear from Sean McDermott. I'm sure he's going to get asked, do you expect James Cook to practice? And we'll see what he says. He may say, I expect him to practice. He may say, we'll see when we get out there. I don't know what James Cook's plan is. And it's going to be a lot of intrigue, right? And then 9:45, the team is on the practice field. We'll get our answer right there. If he does practice, how much does he do? Does he sit out any drills or reps? Anything like that? I think there's just going to be a lot of watching of James Cook going on tomorrow.
All right. Do the Bills have only one punter now?
They do. Brad Robbins. I still think there's a chance they could have another one once the season starts. They've done that before where they've gone out and they've claimed someone or signed someone late in the process. Brad Robbins has to show that he can handle the job. I was actually surprised when they released Jake Camarda today because looking at the numbers, he actually has punted well in the NFL. He was top 5 in the NFL twice with the Buccaneers as a young guy in yards per punt. But I think, Bulldog, you brought it up the other day, right, which is can he place punts, though, right? Can he lay off it a little bit? Can he have those directional punts? I think that's the question with him. And let's be honest, guys, the Bills need a lot of that. They're going to be, at midfield, let's say, when they punt. They're not going to have a lot of drives stall very early. They'll be a little bit deeper. So they're going to have to they don't need a big leg. They need a guy who knows how to place it where they need to place it. And also, I think, we used to have a lot of talk about like the holder and how much it means. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but it does matter, I think, to have one guy working with Tyler Bass and Reed Ferguson instead of rotating them in throughout training camp.
Why was Robin? So he punted 1 year for Cincinnati, and then he did not play at all last year. He might have been injured and then waived by the Bengals. So he was pretty much out of the league.
Yeah, his numbers weren't great, right? But again, numbers don't have to mean anything. It depends on what you're being asked to do at that specific position. But numbers weren't great. He was a good softball pitcher at the Micah Hyde softball event. He was the guy that pitched the guys for the home run derby. So it's funny. I remember that day, and when he showed up, I'm like, oh, here's a new guy. Not a lot of them. He showed up. He was ready to go, and I think from the beginning, I was impressed with just how he kind of fit right in, and he was ingratiating himself with his team, and I think those kind of things matter a little bit, right? He was right there and ready to rock and roll. So we'll see how it goes with punter. And look, I also think because of the some of the new rules that are created, we also have less punts that have happened because of the special teams, the kickoffs and things like that. Because of kickoff returns and getting more of those, and teams not starting as deep, and because of where the new touchback rule is. You had less punts last year, and you're going to have less punts this year. So, one of the things that came out of the owners' meetings that I distinctly remember from Darren Rizzi, who was the special teams coordinator who was in those meetings, and part of this was him telling all of us, and then I talked to him off the side about how, punts are way down, and they're going to be way down again this year.
And not only, that's a good point, the kickoff thing, but also the NFL has the internet now, and they know that most punts are bad ideas. They've cut back on punts for those reasons.
Right, but even if you're conservative, like we talked about a few weeks back, if you're starting at the 30 or the 35, you're that much closer to midfield, so 4th and 3 is not as cumbersome as it would be at your 28.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So that's going to be a thing. I want to swing back to the defense real quick here. Good news, right? On the 3rd-round pick, Landon Jackson, there was a pup thing while I was away, I think, but that's all cleared up. He's been activated. What is Bosa's status? Was he ever on a pup list, or is he expected to be ready to go at camp?
So there was no pup list, up until now, and then once players report, the way the pup list works is if you can't perform at training camp, you go on that list. Mm-hmm. That's in lieu of IR because you can stay on that list as long as you don't practice, and then you don't have to go on IR.
Right.
But with Bosa's situation at WGR550.com, in that article I wrote, the first thing I wrote about is how healthy is Joey Bosa. That's the number one storyline for me at that position, and that will also be answered tomorrow. Would any of us truly be stunned if we found out that Joey Bosa wasn't ready to practice tomorrow?
No.
I mean, the indications are he is, just from what the team told us, and the fact that he was doing stuff with trainers and running off to the side during minicamp, and that was, a month ago. But that doesn't mean that he's going to be ready to go and healthy. So that's something we'll pay attention to. Look, tomorrow morning, it could happen tonight too, but tomorrow morning, if there's anybody that is on the physically unable to perform list because they showed up to camp and there's some sort of issue and they can't go even for one day, we're going to find that out. It's going to be a bit of a story. It's happening around the league. Mac Hollins is on PUP for the New England Patriots. Right?
Sal,
I mean, you never know.
Sal, there is a report in the last few minutes from Lance Lysowski of the Buffalo News that Spencer Brown is on the PUP to start, and also backup center Cedric Van Pran Granger, Bulldogs guy.
That's my dude.
And that Dawson Knox is starting on the non-football injury list. So I don't know what that is.
Well, that explains why they
tight end, right?
Tight end today. And I was wondering if something was going on at the position. It was very weird to me that they signed Matt Sokol, a tight end, today. Non-football injury list. I don't know what that means. I know. I mean, on social media, I've followed Dawson. I know that him and his wife had announced they're having a baby. There was some stuff on social media about that. Everything seemed fine. So whatever that is, I'm not really sure.
Okay.
We'll get maybe more information. And then here you go, Spencer Brown and Cedric Van Pran Granger. You hope it's nothing serious. You never know. It's the PUP. PUP means that they can't practice until they're off that list. And then the longer it goes, if you get into like remember Von Miller a couple years ago, if you get into even Trey White when he was recovering, if you get into the regular season, you get into 53, you can keep a guy on the PUP list. He has to miss 4 games, but he doesn't have to go on IR. But let's hope it doesn't get to that.
Thank you, Sal. We'll talk tomorrow.